Hi, I'm James Whitney, and I work at the Maryland Assistive Technology Program, or MDTAP, our acronym. And I'm going to give you a tour of our library today, but first I want to go over our services, scope of practice, and a couple of our concurrent programs that all work together into what we are today. Essentially, what we are is a Tech Act program, and that makes us one of 56 programs in the USA, including all the states having their own program and US territories. And what we do is increase our respective residents' access to assistive technology, or AT, services and also devices. And we do that in a few ways. One way is our demo and loan program, which we do consultations and we help meet with our clients in person or virtually and discuss their goals and anything that client might be struggling with in daily life that they hope to do better, more efficiently, or more safely. During the consultation, we will hopefully piece together some ideas of equipment and AT devices that could be a good fit for that person. And we'll demonstrate those devices, show the client how they work, and do a simulation in our lab if they are here in person. Or I can also demonstrate them in the camera virtually. And then at the end of all that, if the client wishes to borrow anything from our lab, we are able to loan out devices for 30-day trial runs. And that gives our clients a chance to take things home with them, take it to school, take it to work, use it in your actual setting. So that way you have a better idea of if it's going to be a good fit or not. Everything looks great on the showroom, but sometimes when you get home, things don't work the way you thought they would, and maybe they aren't the best fit. Our goal is to help our clients narrow down their options, try out as many devices as they would like, and hopefully make a better decision on what they wish to purchase, either out of pocket or with insurance or grants. So that is our demo and loan program. And in order to qualify, you just need to be a Maryland resident and have a disability or work with folks who have disabilities. So that could include special education teachers or therapists like occupational therapists, physical therapists, or speech language pathologists as well. That's not an exhaustive list. It could also be caregivers or family members as well that are reaching out on behalf of their client, patient, or family member. Our demo and loan program helps our clients narrow down options, and we can also help get quotes for them. So we don't sell anything personally, but we can help get quotes from certain vendors and companies. And our partner, Amanda Chung, who has a company, AT Discount Sales and Services, that can help us get discounts on lots of AT devices. So I always tell our clients to reach out to us before you make a purchase and see if we can get you a reduced cost on that device. It does depend what device it is as to how much of a discount we're able to get, if any. Our other programs include our Assistive Technology Financial Loan Program that is application based, but if approved, you can get financial loans that are low interest with flexible payback terms that can help that individual gain access to finances to help them purchase the AT they need. And that could include adaptive vehicles or home modifications or any other piece of assistive technology. That is what that loan is for. And we have a couple of great loan officers who handle all those applications and help make that magic happen. We also have a reuse program, which is the Maryland High Tech AT Reuse Program, or MATR. MATR is the acronym of that program. MATR is housed in Columbia, Maryland, and is ran by my colleague Sean Bateman. And we basically what MATR does is accept donations of assistive technology, and more specifically, high-tech assistive technology devices. We accept donations of anything anyone doesn't need and wants to donate to us. We can clean that up and we can donate that back into the community and give that away to folks who need it. It does depend what's been donated as to what's available. So it's always a good idea to check with us and see what we have. If there's a specific disability that you're wishing or hoping to find AT that could help. And lastly, we also have a 3D printing lab here at MDTAP that is ran and headed by Nora Walker. And that is a place that we can print and customize certain lower tech 3D printed AT devices. So this is a request-based program, but we are able to print and give away certain printable items to our clients in Maryland. So next, I want to take you on a tour of our lab or library and show you all the different AT devices that we have available that we're able to loan out to our clients for 30-day trials. Follow me. All right. And we are over here in our aids for daily living section, and that includes things like eating and drinking aids, grooming, dressing, bathing, and all that kind of good stuff. So things you might expect to see in our library, it could range from high-tech items that are kind of fancy, and it could be also low-tech items that work without any chargers or wires, and they just kind of operate as is by themselves. So for instance, of something kind of low-tech, it could be a mechanical device, just like the spatula here that is a squeeze handle operating device. So when you squeeze the handle, it rotates the spatula, and that can help with flipping items like burgers or pancakes. For anyone who doesn't have that kind of range of motion with their forearm, it could help solve that problem with something that's, overall quite simple. We also have items like this pot watcher, which is a water boiling identifier. So basically, when you have this glass disc in the bottom of the pot, as soon as the water starts to boil, it'll rattle around and make some noise. So it kind of alerts the user that the water's boiling and that they can then throw their ingredients in or turn it off and let it simmer. It could also be things like the meal lifter. This is also very low tech. This is basically a circle piece of plastic, but when you put a dish on top of it, it lifts it off the table just a little bit, and that overall makes it a little bit less of a distance between mouth and plate. So I don't have to go quite as far when I'm eating bites. I might be able to have my elbow mounted on the table while I'm eating. It might offer me a little more support, having this just kind of lift it up a little bit. So it could be very low-tech items, like all those three things I just mentioned. It could also be a very high-tech item as well. Like over here, and I'm gonna wake this guy up. We also have a self-feeding robotic arm, which is called the Obi, spelled O-B-I. And our Obi robot has 4 bowls or compartments in his dishes here. And he's a 2-switch system. So a switch is an accessibility switch or a button, a cause and effect button. So I press this button and something else happens on the other end. So when I press one of them, it has OB, he rotates over these 4 dishes. If I press the other button, then he will go down and scoop up a bite of food for us. So he goes down in the bowl, he dusts off the bottom, and he will bring it over to you. So I could teach him where I want him to stop. So really high-tech stuff with a self-feeding robotic arm, really low-tech stuff, and lots of things in between as well. So something in between high and low-tech might look something like this, which is our liftware level. And the idea of this is I click the spoon on, it turns him on, and then he helps keep the food level. So if I need to rotate my arm or hand and kind of move around as I'm scooping bites of food, he helps me not spill it. So this is kind of higher tech than just a regular spoon might be, but not as high tech as something like the Obi. And we do have other liftware products, just like the Steady, that can help with tremors and shakiness and help balance the utensil on the other end. So this one here has a little bit of give or waggle in it, left and right, up and down. So as I have tremors, it's going to help kind of soften all those movements. So we do have a couple items like that do require charging. And of course, we have other low-tech items over here for silverware and things like large grip handled spoons and forks that can make it a lot easier to hold on to these items. Or spoons and forks that have loop systems on them, so that, again, I don't have to necessarily hold on to this item, is that I can just have it rest in my fingers, and I can bring it over to my mouth by just bending my elbow or wrist. And of course, things like universal cuffs that you're able to have spoons or forks or toothbrushes or pens or pencils inside of it, and that it would strap around your hand or wrist, and then again, I don't have to hold on to this object. So we have lots and lots of different utensils for self-feeding, eating, even drinking. We also have an item over here as far as drinking goes that has a really long straw, and this is a modular hose straw so that I can have more or less of these modules. I can mount this in my wheelchair if I'm a wheelchair user. And then I can have an easy access drink of water or whatever else is in the thermos here as quick access. So we do have other bowls, cups, plates that are, all kinds of different adaptations on them with suction cup pads or a dual handled cups and bowls and things like that as well. That can help make adaptive eating and drinking a little bit easier. And also over here, we have all kinds of different items that are from medication management to handwriting aids to even gardening aids. We also have grooming devices. So a few different specific items that we have over here. I'm sure we've all seen a Sunday through Saturday like pill holder, but we do have a couple other ones here that could be a couple weeks at a time. It could have morning, noon, evening, and bedtime, so it kind of organizes it by time of day. We also have a couple other ones over here that are set to timers and that also rotate. So for instance, this guy right here, he's got 28 compartments in him, so this could be up to 4 times a day for a week. And basically all you have to do is set your timers and put your pills in. So it might require caregiver assistance or assistance from a loved one. But then when you close it up, it has a locking mechanism and then it'll spin and spin for each time of day. All you have to do is dump it out in your hand, close it, and then it'll spin on its own again when the next alarm goes off, and then you just open it back up and then dump the pills in your hand. So once it's set up, it's pretty easy to use as far as week by week. It just might take a little setup assistance. So we do have different things to help with medication management. We even have a device called Script Talk over here that is able to speak out what's on this pill label. So I just press it I just place it on this platform. I press read. It'll tell me the name of who the pills are for, what pills are in there, and when to take them, and everything I might need to know. It'll speak that out loud to me. So that's great for blind, low vision individuals. And we also have like grooming aids. So things like nail clippers that are mounted on this nice mounting board here might offer more stability and be a little bit more safe while I'm trimming. Or there's even some with magnifying glasses attached to them so that I can see a little bit better how far I'm getting down on my nail bed. There's also dressing aids over here. So sock donning devices, just like this guy. I would put the sock, I would stretch it out over this, and then it has a nice handle that I could then I could put the sock on my feet and pull it up with this handle. So that can help for folks who might be wheelchair users or not be able to bend over at their hips, which could be due to hip surgery or acute kind of healing processes, or it could be for any other disability as well. We also have things like long-handled shoehorns, dressing sticks, kind of all of that good stuff. And we also have office supply aids over here. So we even have mounted scissors that are easy to use one-handed and a little bit safer. Or things like spring-loaded scissors that kind of spring open, so you just have to worry about closing them and not always pulling them apart. We also have automatic staplers, which probably weren't designed for people who have disabilities, but is a great way to staple papers without having to press down. Also, automatic tape dispensers that has a little handle, and then when you let the handle go, it cuts the tape for you. So we have lots of different things to help in school settings, office settings, even handwriting aids. So a spherical ball, like this, that has a little screw on it. So I could put a pen or pencil in here, screw it in tight, and then I could hold it just like this, which might fit in my hand easier. It might offer me a better grip on the pencil and the device. Or things like the writing bird, which resembles a bird. But I could sit this flat on a table, and then I can just move this thing around and I can handwrite with this, as opposed to the tripod grasp that is quite difficult. So we have lots of different office supplies, dressing aids, grooming, medication management, and we also have our gardening aids over here as well. So this has a nice forearm support on it that can be taken in and out, but it just offers an ergonomic handle, extra support on the forearms. And that might give me just a little bit better overall body positioning while I'm gardening and things like that. So we do have a few different items over here that are all gardening items. And over here we do have things that can help with like jar opening as well. So I could put something from a jar of peanut butter to a like medication, pill bottle. And then basically you could have this, up in your cabinets, but it kind of just fits all the way down in here. And then I can turn it and it pops it right off. And it does have these hooks that are kind of in place that kind of help hold this top down. So while I twist. We also have items that can pop over doorknobs. So we have this guy. This is a door. It's a knob lever kind of attachment, because a doorknob can be a lot harder to grasp and turn, but having a lever offers more support, it offers more leverage. So it'll be easier to kind of chop open. And then we do have other versions of that with like small grippy things that have has notches on the side that can also help with that. We also have key turners that I can pop a key in here, and then it gives me a larger handle to turn the key with. And this also has a jar opening mechanism on here as well that is a little bit smaller. And over here we also have smart home setup, so like Alexa and smart light bulbs, smart plugs. So we do have multiple Alexa units. We also have Google Home units over here as well. So I could say, hey Alexa, I turn the fan on.
Did you mean office?
Hey Alexa, I turn the fan on.
Okay.
So you have to ask twice occasionally. But I just asked her to turn the fan on, and this is an old fan, and it's plugged into a smart plug. So it doesn't have to be a new device. It can plug into a smart plug. And then I can pair that with my Alexa device, and I can make anything that plugs into the wall turn on and off with just my voice. So smart plug plugs into the wall, and then you just plug a device into the smart plug, which can also attach on the Wi-Fi. So the same thing with smart light bulbs, attaches on the Wi-Fi, so I can set that up and it works with my Alexa device. And things like Ring doorbells, we also have that here. And we also have personal emergency response systems. So a lot of us have probably heard of Life Alert or things that are similar at some point or another. And we do have other versions of that here, just like the Sky Angel 911, that I can press the SOS button and I can call 911 wherever I am. And it also has an accelerometer built into this that can help with a fall. It helps show if someone has taken a fall, and then it can call 911 for you if you are unable to. We also have a device called My Notify. It's the same thing, but I could wear it on my wrist, or it has a attachment for the side of my pants, and I can press a button and I can alert authorities that I might need help. So we do have personal emergency response systems and even cool ways to kind of wear them or store them. So in a shirt, it has a little pouch in this that I could stuff this in the pouch in the shirt. So if there's a kiddo or someone who doesn't like wearing it, then it could actually hide away in the shirt and make it a little bit harder for them to get rid of. And we also have ways that are able, we have a device over here, the PowerLink 4, that is able to turn things that plug into the wall into switch accessible devices. So we have the lamp light right here that is able to plug into this plug here, if this is in frame. And then I can plug a switch into here as well. So essentially, I plug in that a device into this and a switch, and now I can turn this thing off with just hitting a switch, as opposed to trying to find this thing and scrolling the wheel and turning it on that way. I can just press this switch and I can turn this on and off. So I can convert things into switch accessible devices by just using a PowerLink 4 as well. And really quick, we also have stuff for caregivers, home health, and like blood pressure monitors that can even speak the results out loud, that can help blind low vision individuals, pulse oximeters that can show you what your it shows you what your oxygen saturation is, and even call bells that can alert caregivers and family that I might need help. So I just press this button and I can make this thing ring. And over here in the lab, we have deaf and hard of hearing devices, as well as a couple devices that help with learning and language. But with deaf and hard of hearing devices, we have alert systems that are visual alert systems. So we have a company here, Square Glow, who makes visual alert systems. So basically I could press his doorbell button and it would make this thing flash. And then I would have this hanging on my wall so I could see a visual alert and I would know that somebody's at the door. I can also pair this with a phone. So if someone calls my phone, then I can see this flash and I know that, that I have a phone call incoming. So we have a couple different visual alert systems here that can show a visual representation of an alert going on, whether it's a phone call, doorbell, fire alarm, or like a baby crying in the house and having an alert like that. We also have vibrational alert systems that can operate a lot just like alarm clocks that can vibrate when the alarm goes off. So if I can't hear the alarm, but I can feel this thing shake, then I'm able to get woken up when I need to and get where I need to be on time. So we do have vibrational alerts, visual alerts, and we also have sound amplifiers as well. So anyone who might just be hard of hearing and needs a boost of sound and maybe doesn't have hearing aids, maybe can't afford hearing aids, maybe has lost a hearing aid. I know we've all had clients like that in the past, but we do have a couple different options for this type of device over here. But basically it has a microphone, takes in sound, boosts it in my headphones. And we do have different versions of this that can be between $50 and $250. So that could be a lot cheaper than hearing aids. And it could work for whatever situation that person is in. And we also have a vibrating baby monitor over here as well. And we have a couple scanning pens here too. So a scanning pen looks kind of like a digital highlighter that you can actually highlight text. It'll read it out loud to you and it can give you an on-the-spot definition as well. So this can help a lot with overall like learning how to read and write, and anyone who needs a little bit more of assistance with that. And our next section in our AT library is our blind and low vision section, and that includes devices like magnifiers, both desktop and handheld, and we also have OCR devices as well as wearables and Braille devices. But starting first, we have our video magnifiers, or this guy right here is a desktop magnifier or a CCTV as they are also called. And basically what this thing does is just, it can increase the size of what is underneath of it. So that could be my hand or a photo album, or it could be text. So I have a newspaper right here that has small text on it. I can place that down here on the tray, and then I can zoom in by just turning a knob. So it's quite easy to use, and I can blow up the size of these images fairly large. It has autofocus on this one, so it's great for just zooming in and out of whatever is underneath of this camera. I can also change the colors of what is being shown. So I can make it a higher contrast of a white background with black text instead of color mode. I can invert those colors and now we have a black background and it has white text popping out against it that can offer higher contrast. And there's even yellows, and some devices have blues and purples and reds. So it's always user preference as to what people think is the best color for them. And this is a 16-inch right here. We also have smaller units that are more portable. So we have a 12-inch down here that offers a lot of the same features of being able to zoom in and out and change your contrast colors. But I can move this guy around a lot more easily than I can probably pack up this giant unit here. And there is even more portable units as well. Over here is a 5-inch, has a nice handle feature on it, so I could even hold this thing up in midair. So if I'm looking at the price tags of things, or I need this kind of on the go, I could quite literally put this in my pocket. So we have lots of different shapes and sizes of magnifiers. And next, we also have OCR devices, and that stands for optical character recognition, which is a fancy way of saying it reads text out loud. Optical characters are the letters of the alphabet and punctuation, and it recognizes those as words, sentences, paragraphs, etc. So right here is a device called the Lyric, and this is an automatic scanning device. So you just have your document right down there.
11. Saving books with Lyric allows you to
and it starts reading immediately. So it's really easy to use. It has volume settings and rate of speech settings, so I can make it talk faster or slower, it's still pretty portable of a unit, but it's pretty large. But we do have smaller ones as well. And right here is the OrCam My Eye. And this is a small device that has magnets that can clip on the side of your glasses. And this operates by taps. So I can tap the side of it.
11 saving books with
And it starts reading. I can make it stop, and I can even check the time with this.
The time is 10:48.
And I just hold up like I'm checking a wristwatch. And we also have wearable devices as well. I'll show you a few others later, but right now I have this guy right here, which is a headset, which also acts as a video magnifier that is wearable. So let me take these off. And I can basically zoom in and out with this. I can change the colors as well. So like just like I can change the colors of this, I can change the colors in my headset of what I'm perceiving. So it's great for zooming in and out of things, changing the colors, and it even has an OCR button on it that it can read out loud to you, which can be really handy. And over here, we're still in our blind and low vision section, but we have more wearable and low tech devices. Because not everybody wants the fancy computers and the video magnifiers. Sometimes all you need is just a regular glass handheld magnifier. And we do have different shapes and sizes and strengths of magnification of these lower tech glass magnifiers. And we have lots of different options. We also have wearable magnifiers that are low tech. So things that have just extra lenses and extra zooming in and out capacities and the ability to adjust for depth perception as well by scrolling the sides of these wheels. So we do have glasses that are for farsighted, that are also glasses that are help you with nearsighted viewing as well. And we even have clip-on magnifiers. So if you already have a pair of glasses that it works really well for you, but you just need a boost occasionally while you're reading or doing other tasks, then we do have clip-on magnifying. Like right here's binoculars, and we have a monocular as well. And we also have tinted glasses here that can help anyone who has photosensitivity and extra light sensitivity in certain situations. So we have lots of good low-tech options as well as all the high-tech options that you've already seen. And we also have Braille note takers and Braille displays here as well, which is basically a device that you are able to type in Braille and read as you type. And these devices come in QWERTY keyboard options, as well as Perkins Brailing options, which is typing in Braille, or I could type in QWERTY and I could read in Braille as well. But I can basically take notes on these things and read them as I take them, scroll up and down, and I can also plug these into my computers and I can read Word documents, PDFs, and any other accessible documents in Braille. And over here is our mouse and keyboard and overall computer access section, and we also have adaptive gaming devices over here. So as far as computer access, we have different accessible keyboards and mice. And accessible mice could be things like a joystick mouse that has a nice joystick feature, so that I could just hold this down and it'll move the mouse across the screen. And I can adjust how fast the mouse moves across the screen in my settings, and there is a button here that can slow and speed that up as well. And then you also have a left and right click, and even switch access that is able to be plugged into the ports in the back here, so I could have switches elsewhere on the table. So it really opens up a world of possibilities with how I interact with the left and right click, as well as a joystick. And we also have, over here is a trackball mouse that I can roll the trackball, and that rolls the mouse across the screen. And then I also have left and right click and switch access that I can plug in external switches, and I can use those as my left and right click. And then another version of a trackball mouse could be this guy here, and we've all probably seen, like some version of this or another, but I can roll the trackball around with my thumb, and I can still click freely with my fingers. We also have a wearable mouse. We actually have multiple different kinds of wearable mice, but basically a wearable mouse is exactly that. I can wear this, I can move the mouse across the screen by just moving my head and my neck. And this one right here called the Glass Ouse also has a bite switch that I can plug in. So I can plug in this bite switch, and essentially when I bite it is a left click. So I can use this, I can bite, click, double click, open up a keyboard. It was designed for hands-free computer access, so you are able to get on the computer absolutely hands-free by just using a wearable mouse. And there are other kind of quirky mice that are a little bit different, but I like this one a lot. This is called the roller mouse. And basically I can move the mouse left, or I can move the mouse right, I can move the mouse up or down, and I can even click by just clicking this bar in. It also has a left click, a right click, double click, and even a copy and paste option right here. And I can put this right up against a keyboard. And for our accessible keyboards, we have keyboards like high contrast keyboards, nice bright colors. We also have other color coordinated keyboards as well. So this one has the vowels in light blue, the consonants in dark blue, the numbers are in red, punctuation in orange. So it might make it easier for low vision or for someone who's still learning the keyboard to find things quickly. And this also has a key guard. And a key guard basically outlines each key, so I cannot press between them. I have to press the key itself, so that can help increase accuracy as well. And over here is our adaptive gaming section, and we actually do have a couple adaptive gaming kits that we are able to loan out the full kit that comes with an Xbox, a Nintendo Switch, and a PlayStation 4. We have TVs and accessible controllers that we have as kind of a rolling unit that we can take places for events and even loan them out. But essentially, adaptive keyboard looks like this. A standard keyboard has joysticks on it and like 12 or 15 different buttons, which assumes a lot about the user. So there are different adaptive controllers that have switch ports in the back and all these switch ports represent each button on a standard controller. So I can plug in whatever switches I want, and I can recreate a controller on a different kind of positioning. So I can press them with my hands, with my feet, or any other way that I can interact with switches, and I can basically recreate the controller and have it in a way that is just a little bit more easily like utilized by me playing video games. Our next section in our AT lab is our non-video gaming games and other pediatric AT, as well as animals and Switch accessible toys and things of that nature. So we do have games that are non-video gaming, just like tactile tic-tac-toe, that I can actually feel the shapes as I'm pressing them down and playing the game. We also have large print playing cards, as well as card holders that can make it a little bit easier to interact with a card game. We also have Braille cards as well that have Braille on the corners, so I could feel what the cards are that I'm holding. We also have tactile dominoes and a tactile dice as well as like Braille Scrabble, Braille Uno playing cards as well, and even matching games that are like listening matching games that you have to shake these things, listen and match them. We have tactile matching games where you have to match up the textures of things. And we also have Switch accessible toys. And right here is an adaptive dice rolling machine. I can press the switch down. This is a nice squishy switch that's fun to play with. And I just rolled Snake Eyes. So we also have a whole bunch of different like Switch accessible toys. So right here is a Peekaboo Bear. I can press a switch and I can fire him off by just pressing one button. So we can make it a little bit easier to interact with certain toys and things of that nature. And we also have like bubble machines. We have Joy for All pet companions, and even sensory devices that can help make a room a little bit more sensory friendly, with like bubble machines and fiber optic lights, and things of that nature. And over here we have a wall of switches, and by switches are all these buttons that I'm pressing that basically operate and just make an effect happen on the other end, cause an effect. So we have lots of different shapes and sizes of switches, thin and durable, small, round, even rubberized. We also have switches that are the proximity switches that you just have to get close to it and fire it off. You don't actually have to press anything. We also have light touch switches that just take a little bit of pressure, it'll fire the switch off. We also have mounted switches. You can mount and hit them with your head or your knees. So we have lots of different switches over here that are able to be utilized in lots of different ways, whether it's the OB robot or the adaptive Xbox controller or even the hide and seek bear. There's lots of different ways to use switches. And we even have Bluetooth switches that can pair up to your iPhone or smart device. And I can use that and navigate through my device. I can read books with it. I can open up apps with it, all by just hitting one or two buttons over and over again. Our last section in our AT library is our AAC, or Augmentative Alternative Communication and Speech Access section. So we do have both high and low-tech speech devices here. So our low-tech devices are static displays, meaning that they don't change what's being displayed when you press a button. And it can come in simple, like 1 button, 2, 3, or even 9, and so forth. But essentially, we have one here for more, go, and stop. So it could be any 3 words you want. It's easy to record your own voice on these and change up exactly like what the messages say. And then on this guy, we actually have 9 plus 3, so this has 12 options.
I feel happy.
So I can very quickly put a sentence together by just pressing 3 buttons. And then we do have more complex, speech devices as well. So we have dynamic, high-tech devices here, so that I can still press, any of these buttons. And it says, please ask me yes and no questions. So this board here was built for aphasia.
Please ask me yes and no questions.
So I could use this, I could let someone know that, I'm using a tablet for speech. Please ask me yes and no questions, and we can have, a nice flowing conversation. So we have low tech, high tech, and we even have different ways to access all these devices too. And one of which being switch access. I can press switches and I can kind of go through my options. I can press, like whatever message I want to say. And we also have eye gaze and eye tracking devices here as well. So a eye tracking device, it tracks the pupils and how they move around. And then if I dwell on something long enough or stare at it, I can dwell on it. And then if I dwell for however long I set the dwell timer, it'll click on that thing. So I don't have to press any other buttons. I just stare at whatever message for a second and a half, and I can have it say something out loud. So I will demonstrate.
Hey.
With a quick hey. So I just stared at the word hey, and then it spoke it out loud to me. So we have eye gaze and eye tracking devices, high and low tech, static and dynamic. So we have lots of different options here. And we also have amplifiers for voice. So we have speakers and we have microphones that can help amplify what someone's voice is saying. So if anyone has any breath control limitations or Parkinson's kind of related symptoms, then I could use a speech amplifier that can increase the volume of my voice. Even if I talk at a whisper, it could allow people to hear me better. And that concludes our tour of this library. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you here. Just call or email us, and we can schedule an appointment and have you come in.